Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much. I always figured what a beautiful place East London is and what friendly people they are here. This morning, when I got off the plane, I took a taxi cab here, and I got dropped off by the gate because I saw the entrance. It's this conference center, so I told the guy, "Don't worry, I'm okay, leave me here." I didn't realize it was quite a long walk from there to here. And a very kind gentleman, Victor, sitting at there, offered me a lift. That would never happen in Johannesburg. So thank you very much, and thank you for giving me your time. So our biggest question, and I'll tell you how we developed this company, is, you hear all the great things about, the government's going in the right way, about how it wants to support SMEs, because that is the largest growth engine or growth driver for not just jobs, but for the economy in our country, and that's not just in South Africa, that's been proven worldwide. We hear corporates saying that they want to support SMEs, we hear the banks saying that they want to support SMEs, but how many of you find it easy to raise funding? Okay, how many of you find it difficult to raise funding? So I hope I can help you in a small way, and I'm going to go very quickly through the presentation, and I prefer that you start asking me questions, and because I think we learn a lot more that way, and see if we can help you in any way.
Of a new disruptive funder, but the start of a movement.
Okay, so I guess you asked me, who are we and what are we? Profit Share Partners is a disruptive funder to the SME sector. We're a funder that's able to decision within 24 hours. We're able to give you a term sheet within 48 hours, an application to pay out for new clients in 7 days. And you'd ask me, what do I need? What do you need is, you need a contract or a purchase order with a large corporate, a government institution, a large multinational, state-owned enterprise, and the like. We've then you've got to convince us that the underlying contract that you have in your position that you're able to deliver on. So we do a lot of stuff, a lot of finance in the supply chain, and then that you have enough margin in your transactions, so it's not priced so thinly that it's difficult to make a decent profit on. If you have that, I guess your traditional funders will say, well, show me your balance sheet, show me your financials, give me security, give me track record, and all of that. We don't look at any of that. We don't want your balance sheet, we don't want your financials. If your credit record isn't the best, it doesn't matter to us. We're just interested in the underlying transaction that you have. So if you have a good transaction with a good client, you need to supply the ELIDZ with 500,000 rand worth of bottled water, but obviously you need to go and buy it, you need to pay the supplier, you need to go pay the guys to print the ELIDZ logo on it, you need to pay for transportation to get it here. We pay for 100% of all of that, and we only get paid when you get paid. So there's no monthly payment and the sort. We don't charge any interest either. So up front, we would agree on a share of the profit. So usually it works around about a third of the profit. And what we've been able to do with that, we're able to grow companies rapidly. So in the last year alone, we've grown about 40 clients. We've taken them from 300,000 rand turnovers to 3 million in less than 12 months. And our biggest brag story, we've taken a client from 1 million rand to 35 million rand in less than in 2.5 years. So our purpose is we're disrupting the way normal funding works. We've done this in several countries before. As a South African entity, we've sold it off to a listed company a few years ago, and we started this again, but on a tech basis. So where is this profit share partners based? If all of you have any of you have a cell phone that is a smartphone, and you've got access to the internet, profit share partners is based on your phone. So we can access you anywhere, even in the most remote location, as long as you have access to the internet. There's no paperwork, so when you're signing your documents even, you sign it with your finger. You can sign it using encrypted initials, so you don't have to print out documents, you don't have to get it signed. Our technology can geotag you wherever you are, and we're getting to such a stage that soon we'll be launching our next version that you'll even take a photograph of yourself. We use your biometrics, and that becomes your FICA. We're able to open a bank account for you if you need on the back of that. So you don't need to, you can be on site working where you, delivering on a job, as opposed to standing in a line in the bank trying to get finance and stuff sorted out. So it's quite revolutionary. I'll give you all the details as we finish the presentation. And the best way to see if we just a talk shop or not is to test us, as you try us out. So the other things that we do is we don't just help you in financing, we help you in executing the order. So you've got an order, silly example again, but you've got an order to deliver this water. We make sure that you're buying from the right supplier. We sometimes even help you negotiate a better price. We help you with, so we look at all of the reasons why the ELIDZ won't pay you for this water. One is they could have financial risk and say, listen, ELIDZ is going out of business, in which case we take that financial risk. So that's why we'll only deal with certain types of companies. We'll take that financial risk, but if they say we're not paying you for this bottle of water because we ordered 750 mils, this is 500 mils. We wanted 1,000 bottles, we wanted to deliver 500. Half of them were delivered half of them were damaged in the transit process. We wanted our label yellow, this is blue. So our technology and our systems get involved in all of that to make sure that you're delivering the right thing. And the reason why we need to make sure you're delivering the right thing is if you don't get paid for it, we don't get paid for it. So we've got to make sure your success and our success is intertwined. So hence, we've got to make sure that you're delivering properly. So what happens after 5 or 6 times, our clients don't really need us. Right? We've got a counterintuitive business model, which was difficult to convince some of the shareholders in our business initially to say that we're going to build up these clients to lose them. I mean, a lot of businesses will be, how do we attract a client and how do we keep them? Ours is how do we attract a client and how do we build them and how do we lose them? So initially the banks thought that we were competitors to them, and more they're now seeing that we collaborators. So we're able to take a client from 300,000 to 3 million in less than a year. After a year, the client's now got financials, he's got cash in the bank, he's got a great track record, he's delivered on time every time. The people that he's working with, so in the corporate supply chain, they get more and more confidence with him or her, and they're giving them more and more contracts. So the client then graduates out of our space, and they go into, then you can get, it's easier for you to get funding in the normal channels. And then it becomes cheaper in that way as well. So where we replace, you've got a new business and you've been thinking, okay, I've got this new 500,000 in order, I can't get funding from the bank. You either have a rich uncle, aunt, or somebody, but but then they lend you the money, but then they take about, say, 50% of your business. You then pay them back the funds, they still own 50% of your business. You continue trading, you get a 2 million rand order, and then both of you don't have money, you're getting a third partner in. So over time, the entrepreneur starts to dilute himself out of his own business. So you start destroying wealth for yourself. So what we're able to do, think of us as like a temporary partner. We only get involved, we only partner in each transaction. So we don't partner in your business, just in the transaction. So yes, you lose a little bit of profit, but it helps you to ramp up your turnover from 0 to say 10 million rand very quickly, without you having to provide financial security and the like. And then when you're at a certain level, you don't have to buy us out because we're not a shareholder in the business. Obviously, you've lost a bit of profit to us, but you've now established. You're a lot more sustainable. You're able to get to the banking sector and so forth. So with that in mind, I want to show you quickly how what we do. We only look at short-term transactions. So if you're buying a �1 million rand truck to sell to one of the automotive suppliers or manufacturers down here, we can fund you for that. But if you then need to buy that truck because they're giving you a contract for 5 years, that's more asset-based finance. We won't do that. So anything where where the term is more than 365 days is something that we won't be able to finance. Our typical transactions are between 45 to 60 days. So, taking you through all of that, our transaction sizes, we like to do transactions between 250,000 to 5 million rand, and that's per transaction. So we need, as I mentioned, we need you to have, the first step is we need you to have an order with a blue chip company, a large corporate, a multinational, a state-owned enterprise, a government department. I think 90% of our business is funding purchase orders. You've now got the purchase order from a company, but you don't have the capital to execute. Short-term contract financing is where it's not something that you can pay immediately. Like we funded a few clients recently that needed equipment, and that's not really our type of thing because it's equipment finance. But they were able to, they've had other contracts in place, so within 3 months they were able to pay us back for the equipment. Growth finance, so as I told you before, how we take clients very quickly from say 300, we can grow your income or your turnover by 10 times easily within a year if you've got the contracts. Invoice discounting, this is a smaller part of our business, but we do get clients who you've now performed the order. It's now sitting on your client's database or supplier base, or sorry, the finance system, but they'll only pay you in 30 or 60 days. But you need the money now. So we can invoice up to 90% of the value of that invoice. And then deal assistance. There's a lot of times where we've helped clients. One where, if you're dealing with a certain type of client, recently we had a lot of municipalities where we would advise our clients, okay, we can't help you with this because we're worried about the financial ability of the municipality to pay. So it's not just that we're not funding it. If you had the funds, you shouldn't be using them either. We're also able to, within 10 seconds, we have technology and processes that can identify fake purchase orders. So, and that's a free service to our clients. So we probably get 5 or 6 fake purchase orders a day. And we're able to decision that within 10 seconds, we're able to pick up the fraudulent purchase orders. So that's another service, so our clients don't get hoodwinked into the wrong transaction. We also help them if they're not buying at the right price. So if you're supplying to one of your corporates and you go to say Siemens to buy the machine, Siemens will give you the list price. And the larger corporates, the guys are giving them list 10, list 20. We're able to use our muscle to get you a better price. And sometimes that discount is equal to what we charge as our share of the profit, which means your funding is then free. And then a lot of our clients, when you work with us, we work with you together. You then see how we negotiate, how we arrange goods in transit insurance. So the next time, the guys are doing it themselves. And the third or fourth time, my best story is one of our clients, we arranged a 10% discount for him. By the third deal, he came to us and said, don't worry about that, I've got a 15% discount now. where the guys wanted payment from him up front, he was able to get a 30-day discount, 30-day term from them. So it's just highlighting all of these things. We don't teach you the soft skills, but we teach you how to trade better, how to execute your deals better, because it protects both you and us to make sure we get the deal done and we get the return. And I said, after 5 or 6 times, our clients are pretty much experts in what they do. They don't really need us. So I'm going to show you a quick video to show you how the growth finance works and how we create wealth for our clients. Let's take this example of an existing business which has 100,000 Rand worth of working capital and turns it 10 times a year to create turnover of R1 million. They make a gross profit of around about 35%, which is 350,000 Rand. Ideally, a business to grow should take some funds from the gross profit of the 350 and reinvest it into the current working capital. However, we know with SMEs, this is not always possible, as the gross profit also becomes the owner's livelihood, which pays for his own salary, his household expenses, etc. Where the power of profit share partners comes in is we able to, for in this example, give the client an extra R1 million a month worth of working capital. He now has 1.1 million Rand, which he's able to turn just as before 10 times a year, which creates a turnover of 11 million Rand. If his gross profit remains the same at 35%, he's now making 3.85 million Rand, and profit share partners for providing 100% of the funding and assistance on the deal execution, profit shares in this transaction for approximately 33%. In this example, profit share partners makes 12%, and hence the client pays us 1.2 million Rand, but still retains 2.65 million as his profit, which is effectively 2.3 million Rand worth of wealth that we've created for the client.
This is not the launch of a new disruptive funder, but the start of a movement.
So, let's I've taken you through a lot of that. So, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah.
I think it would be best if we manage it in a way that it's more interactive. My apologies. Please take a seat because I would like the questions to be integrated. The supply chain that has presented from the Eastern and ELIDZ. We'll take Sandra as well. That is the head of SMME and community Maren. So we'll interact with that. He's coming with the funding. These are the institutions that provide the platform for SMMEs to be able to interact with those organizations. Is that fair? Thank you very much. Yes, I think. We'll take 3 hands here at the center, 3 hands that side, and 3 hands there. If I can get assistance with the mic.
There are mics.
There are mics.
Hello?
We have 3 hands there. 3 hands. 3 hands here. The gentleman that's standing.
Yes.
We have this hand with a book and we have this hand. We will take those 3 hands first. Yes, we'll take those 3 hands first.
Hi, my name is Sisekone. My question is for Andrew. With your presentation there, it showed that you guys take around 30% of the person's profit. Did I get my math right? So now, with an investment, even though we're doing some sort of favor, but isn't that a little bit too much, the 30% of someone's profit?
The next question. Let's try and be precise with our questions so that more people can talk. All right?
Yes, yes, name is Bandile, Frank. I represent Afristar Diversified Holdings. I'm allowed to ask 2 questions, or can I just ask
No,
one?
you're not allowed. Start with your hand was not the second hand.
No,
I pointed and said someone with the book.
Yes.
All right. Now that's fine.
Oh, you'll be there the next time.
Okay, fine.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Program Director. My name is Dumisane Peter from Dumisane Peter Energy Consultants. Mine is to the first presenter, I just forgot his name, ELIDZ. What is your monitoring system you are using? Titus, thank you, Program Director. What is your mechanism you are using, specifically on the SMME Supplier Development Plan? Because that is one of those documents that my company specializes in terms of developing for medium and large companies. But I'm begging to understand, how do you as ELIDZ make sure that such plan is implemented? First, secondly, to follow up to that, do you have statistics? Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Nico Gray. I am a member of Progressive Blacks in Information Communication and Technology. I'm in the Executive Committee, Provincial Executive Committee. I'm also an entrepreneur. My first question, I would like to propose it to profit share. Profit share facilitates the process from the pricing to the bidding, right? There's a rule of thumb in government offices that says that you cannot mark up more than 30%. So if that's the case, right, when you look at the data of your clients, the people that are most successful in terms of getting the bids, what markup do they mostly use? And then second to Sanro, what systems do you have in place in terms of to make sure that the 30% of your procurement goes to small businesses and not to businesses that are masquerading as small businesses in that form of fronting? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll allow you to respond to those. Yes. Mark. Yes, ma'am.
Thanks for the question. As Island ELIDZ, we have a supply development department within Island ELIDZ where we monitor our supply development initiative that we implement in our procurement processes. For example, if there's a supply development initiative that is within a contract, we would then ask the contractor on appointment to present their plan, and it's agreed upon between us and the contractor as well as the SMME involved. We would then on quarterly basis do tracking according to the milestones and activities that is put within that plan, where we will then check whether this has materialized and money paid into the SMME in terms of invoices presented to the contractor and the contractor the invoices presented to Island ELIDZ. So we do have measuring and we do have statistics as well of SMME development within Island ELIDZ. Thank you.
Thank you. So to the first question, but to summarize what you asked, isn't 30% too much after profit? So how we came around in business is, I'm sure you guys know about private equity and in general having an equity stake in a company. We initially thought we could then invest in a company and then take up, which is usually for a private equity company, take about a 30% return. But to get that done quickly, I mean, to be a shareholder in a business and then to exit quickly is difficult, especially with a lot of our clients getting the money very, very quickly. So on that basis, we built on the same kind of model of trying to get a private equity return, which is actually, our model is actually cheaper because when we grow your company from 1 million to say 10 million, you don't have to buy us out at the 10 million rand valuation because what you've done, you've paid us profit along the way. So think of us as a partner, like a 30% partner in your business. So in practical terms, what it means is, on average, our clients have, say, like a 30% margin. And what we do, we actually check that margin with them. A lot of the time, the clients think they're making 30%, but when we factor in things like transportation, logistics, insurance, it could be slightly lower. And so we take about a third of the profit. And so in a 30% margin, if the client is actually making 30, we make around about 8%. Our clients make about 22. So the idea is it's not about just comparing it on like an interest rate basis. It's about getting access to capital and then ramping up your growth so that you can get enough capital, as our second video showed, so that you can become self-sustainable. Then the second question, you were asking me about the average, what is the usual in our market. So we see all sorts of transactions from guys who are fuel traders who are making 2-3% that we don't finance unless it's in a very short period of time. And we see clients who are making 200% margins. So on average, our clients make around about 30, and that's the level that we're comfortable at. Our clients are usually smaller businesses, so they don't have massive overheads like offices and lots of staff. Remember, we're almost like the nursery school in business. We're helping the guys get off their feet. We're giving them that start to get to the point where they can be self-sustainable or be able to go to a normal bank. So on average, in our experience, we've seen most of our margins around the 30% mark. We used to see a year or 2 years ago very, very high margins, especially in the government sector, which we didn't think was sustainable. But when clients have very, very high margins, we don't take a third of that margin. Then our margins usually come down to like 20% of profit. I hope that answers that.
Fronting is a very difficult thing to prevent because you always have those people that will find a way to do it. However, we do try to prevent it in two ways. First of all, by our pre-qualification criteria, and secondly, by monitoring. So when it comes to pre-qualification criteria in the lower grades, we say that we will only contract with contractors with a BBBE grading of 1 to 4, and it's not that difficult to monitor because in the lower grades you usually work with the owner on site and you see the owner on site. But in the higher grades, 8s, 9s, and I almost think 7s as well, in the pre-qualification we will only consider BBBE levels 1 and 2. And the reason for that is because they must have a SADC accredited certificate which shows exactly how much management representation there is, how much they participate in the contract, etc. So the details are spelled out there, and then you can usually quickly see what the balance in terms of equity is or not. However, when it comes to the day-to-day business of monitoring, in each of every contract of ours, doesn't matter how big or how small, we have a system which is called ELIDZ. It's an electronic system, and our contractor and our consulting engineer have to monthly capture all project data on there. So he must capture there every SMME and every labourer that is working for them. You must capture the CIDB grading, is it an EME or QSE, etc. Even the business owner's contact details, his telephone number, his name, etc. is on there. So I can go into ELIDZ, I can press a button for a particular contract and I can see exactly who is working on that contract, and our auditors can actually contact those business owners to audit exactly who is participating in the project. This system also gives us the capability to monitor what is happening with our SMMEs, because you know you can start out as a 1, you get a contract with Sandro, through that contract you become a 2 or a 3, but then you sit without work for another 2 years and you fall back to a 1. So with this system of ours, we can track how businesses are doing over a number of years to see if our inputs and our efforts really makes a difference to the small construction industry.
Thank you very much. We will take 3 hands here, this side. We'll start with this side, 3 hands. Is there only 1 hand this side? I will man. You can't sit here and just keep quiet. Your hands this side. 3 hands this side. So we only have 1 hand. 1, 2, this side. Take the mic there and another mic here. We'll come back to the center, don't worry. We'll come back. 1, 2, 3.
From SMME Construction. My question is to you, Andrew. I see your business model is purely focused on the supply of goods and services. My question is that we in the construction and other sectors need such kind of support. Are you perhaps in future looking at assisting more especially construction, we SMEs in construction? The challenge is that our contracts are basically more than 12 months, and I see your model, you are working within 365 days. So that's my question. Thank you.
Let me try and assist. No, it's not. You go to this kind of the crowd of language. There's an interpreter.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Gohabaz Nguva, the director of Avama Goha Consulting. My question is directed from the 3 speakers. I've just been appointed by Department of Higher Education and Training to train SMMEs in the, I'm passionate about the rural development in the OR Tambo district. Now I've been trying to get, the training is all about them running sustainable businesses in terms of their finances and other stuff. But whilst I was doing my recruitment, major problem of them, because one of the criteria is that they must have a CSD report. Now thinking of a woman from Lusikisiki have to get into 2 taxis to go to town to access internet. So I would like to plead to the 3 speakers to please organize 100 PCs for my SMMEs. There are 100. I'm training 100 of them. I would like, before we train them on how to run businesses, I would like them to have a minor training on how to run basic computer skills. Thank you. Because we've been attending these seminars. There's more young, less implementation. So I would like to pose that to you that if possible, because I've written to all the departments, I haven't got a positive response yet. So I'd like to pose that challenge to you guys, especially my brother in the center, that in your conference, can you please just have PCs? I don't mind if the cheapest you can get in the market, just for us to train them first on the computer skills, so that they get training on computers. They don't have to carry taxis to go to town to access internet. Thank you.
The next hand, can I have that hand? No. We'll take 5 because it's 3, 8. We'll only have 8. There are stands outside. All the speakers have their own stands there. You can engage in debate. The gentleman there, the one that had the mic, yourself, you are number 1, you are number 2, you're number 3, you're number 4, you're number 5. And that's it. Okay?
Good morning. I'm Meg from the Local Yokel Project, all about getting people to support local business. My question is for Farid, just to give us a little bit more insight as to how the IDZ is making sure that more of the money that is earned here is spent here, and what sort of policies are in place to check localization as opposed to transformation and youth and the other criteria that you have in place.
Thanks. The next one. Over to you, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. My question is a quick one to Andrew from Profit Share. Normally, a lot of financial organizations will come and present with their services. They will give you a good presentation, they will give you qualified criteria, and then you go home, you do everything that's needed, and you rent it. Then you go to the bank with a good business plan, meeting that qualifying criteria, and then you still get turned down. So there's obviously a qualifying criteria that is for everyone in the presentation, and then there's a qualifying criteria that is hidden. I call it the human factor. Now, of all the companies that have met your qualifying criteria, right, at your offices, how many have been approved? So what is your approval rate more like? Because I foresee a chance that we could speak, but I want to know if this is the right type of financial organization that I'm speaking to. Thanks. Am I allowed to ask a second or third question? All right, thanks.
Hello.
Hello?
Thank you. What I would like to ask is, I would like to start with the gentleman from ELIDZ. I like your comment. As your business, be the brand. I am my brand. Just a quick question. How can one, such as myself, who provides engineering management consulting services and training, can be able to get involved with your existing platform of your business management workshops? Because my target market in training is not with public sector, is more with private sector. So how can I be able to get involved with you and be able to partner as an SMME that I am? And then for Sanral, what I'd like to ask is, within your development, your AQF levels training 1, 2, 4, it's good. I'm glad you guys are doing that. But are you the ones who are registered as the service provider with the SETAs, or do you outsource? And if you do outsource, someone myself who's a registered assessor and a moderator, how can I be able to get in touch with you to be able to be involved in that as an SMME? Thank you.
Nice one. Next. And there.
Good morning. My name is Ludwig Binga from Africa Development Consultant. I specialize in social facilitation. My question would be on Sandra. I was looking at her presentation and I see a lot of issues that we have with Sandra, where a lot of job opportunities that are supposed to be for social facilitators are given to consulting engineers. And you find out there's lots of problems with these projects now.
Can we get the question?
Okay. What is your plan in terms of accommodating social facilitators in your projects that you are working around the province?
Oh, good morning. My name is Sitina Matiwane. I have a question to you, gentlemen, to the gentleman on the left and to you as well. The issue of the 30 million rands, that if the project is 30 million, then 30% locality. What happens from a project that's below 30, let's say 29 million rand? Local SMME is excluded from that, comma. And to Sandra, when you make adverts in the Daily Dispatch and in your website, when you inspect, do you check what's within the local municipality? For instance, you say that in Ngobo, we need grade 3 to 5. Do you check how many grade 3s are there in Ngobo? 3 and up. Because the issue is that you will say, okay, if you are from within the local municipality, it's 5 points. If from the region, it's 3 points. The province, 1 point. It's not practical. But I can tell you now that but there's no grade 5 and up. And lastly, in your presentation, you show that there's about 40 entities in your within Sanglan database. 14,000 are grade 1, that's 35%. But your adverts are also grade 3 and up. Or lastly, to ELIDZ. There's a briefing today.
I'm sure you can address it without pointing it.
Okay, sorry. To ELIDZ, there's a briefing today about you needing contractors from grade 3 and up. What happens to those who are below grade 3? How small is small? Thank you.
The last one, yes.
My name is Thandolwe Tucheza from Cancer Promotions and Event. My question is from Henry. Tell me, Henry, does PSP provide a letter of intent for service providers when they submitting the document?
Thank you. Over to you. Bring the mic here now. We're done with Q&A. Bring it. You can run.
Okay, there's been a lot of questions and we all need to respond. So I can elaborate, but I'm going to keep it as short as possible. The first one that I want to address is the issue of accessibility that a lady there mentioned. And SANROL has 4 regional offices who has to cover the whole country. But we did realize that we are very far away from the people that works on our contracts, especially in the rural areas. So we have decided that over the next 5 years, we really want to establish a local presence. So our first local office is gonna, we already have the premises, it's in Usikisiki, and we still have to appoint the office manager. So that is the first local type of office that we are going to open, and over the next 5 years we're going to open more of those offices to ensure that people can access us easier. The question on what do we do for local business development? Now, except that, as I explained, we identify target areas where we utilize the subcontractors from those areas. Other than the construction industry, we also create opportunities for other businesses in the local areas. For example, in some of our community development projects, we have trained ladies who made all the overalls for a particular project. And after that project, they continued to make overalls for other projects. In another project of ours, we assisted someone to establish a curb making manufacturing facility. So he manufactured the curbs for that particular project, but afterwards he supplied curbs to many of our other projects. So other than just purely construction, we also try to assist other fields in our projects. The outsourcing of training, we are not a registered training service provider, although we require that all our trainings are done by registered service providers. Now, each and every of our projects have some or other training on it. And at the moment, only in the Eastern Cape, we have 160 active projects. So there is opportunities for 160 training service providers. When it's a community development project, it is a tender that you will find on our website where we ask for a combination of a training service provider and a construction manager. So typically it would be a construction manager that subcontracts a trainer or vice versa. However, in our conventional projects, the main contractor would procure the services of the training service provider. So once again, go to our website, identify the projects that has been awarded, and phone that contractor and ask him, listen, what does your training program look like? I'm a training service provider and I'm interested to participate in the project. Social facilitation is a huge gap that we have at SANROL, and which we realized. On project level, we have project liaison officers, but they are directly involved in the project. And then, of course, we have community development specialists and stakeholder engagement specialists, etc. But we did realize that there's really a need for facilitation, especially during the design stage, so that we make sure that we address communities' needs already during the design stage. So at this very moment, myself and 2 of my colleagues, our stakeholder engagement manager, is working on a strategy to expand our social facilitation efforts. So that's definitely something that we are working on. Then the 30 million rand, of which 30% must be subcontracted. Now that 30 million rand is not a value that has been set by SANRAL or any other state-owned entity. That is a value that has been set by National Treasury. So National Treasury regulation says that for all projects larger than 30 million, 30% must be subcontracted if feasible. However, as I said in the presentation, SANRAL had made a conscious decision that even if it is a 1 million rand project, we will still either make sure that it's an EME that does the work, or if it's above the level of the EME, we will subcontract 30%, irrespectively of the value of the project. The question from the gentleman about asking, do we check the availability of resources in the area? Do we check if there is indeed CIDB level 3s, etc.? Yes, we do. Because we need to provide the contractor with the details so that he can go onto the CSD where he select those that he wants to invite to tender. So up front, we do an audit. We actually go to the CIDB website, and from that databases, we can see how many CE1s there is in the area, 2s, 3s, etc. If there's not enough, for example, if there's not enough 3s in Ikobo, we will make the area wider until the area is wide enough where we feel there's enough CIDB3 competition. So there's not a set area, it all depends on that audit that we do. I didn't quite...
I think you've covered all your questions. Let's allow I because your questions are similar. Then finish with
the question of localization. Like I said, this was now the regulation has now allowed us to target. So what we do, we target our goods and services below 500,000. We target our locals, especially the PCM region, and also within our tender process, we give preference through our evaluation criteria for our suppliers that's in our area. When it comes to the engineering consultancy, we have CEDA construction incubator within the zone that facilitates training for contractors. So I would suggest that we set up a meeting and we explore the 30% as well. Like you said about the 30% is legislated is a mandatory requirement by Treasury that we have to subcontract 30% of a 30 million contract. However, that doesn't. We don't have to. We can also do it for tenders below the threshold. When it comes to the briefing session, we don't have a briefing session for the emerging database. The database that we are inviting CIGB grades from 3 to 5. The reason for that because the nature of our operation is ELIDZ. We have to construct factories for investors and for deadlines. And if we don't, they move to Kuha. So we want to keep our investors in East London. So for contractors below 3 to 5, although we know that also assistant leader, we need contractors that will be able to work from a level 3 and 5. So this is our focus at the moment. We were looking to from 1 to 2 at a later stage, but for the moment we are looking at 3 to 5.
Okay, so I got a few questions. So on the supply side, the chain side, we said the earlier question, will we consider construction? So we would in certain circumstances, and the reason why we don't do construction fully, and there are parts of that we do, is we lost a lot of money in our previous business trying to do construction. We thought we were quite clever, and we thought we crossed all the T's and dotted the I's, and we lost about 40 million rand lending to small contractors in the SME space. We're not a bank, we're a large institution, we're a small privately owned company, so it was a massive hit for us. And the reason behind that is we will fund things that if you need, say, the materials in your project, right? we can fund that. But then your contract must be able to say that when your materials are on site, you'll get paid for it, whether you get paid for it in 30 days or 60 days. The where we find problems is that if you now need to take the materials and then you build a wall, and if your whoever your client that you're working for comes through and the QS says, hold on, that wall's not straight, you've got to break that wall and rebuild it. We can't, it's difficult for businesses like us to have control of that quality. So we don't want to take on quality type risk, because that's where you can lose a lot of money, especially in the construction side where the margins are thin. Where we can help you though is if your contract says deliver materials on site, because that's a very large portion of any contract. We can help you with that. We can help you once you've actually delivered, but you can't wait for your payment certificate. So your payment certificate has been issued and approved, but you have to wait 30 days for payment. We can help you discount that. So I hope feel free to give me a shout if I can help you with something more in depth. The next question was around my sister is training the SMEs. You know, if you don't ask, you don't get, right? So I'll tell you what I'm going to do for you. I'll work with you to, we know a lot of companies up in Johannesburg, and we'll get you those, I'll work with you to get the 100 PCs. And we can go one further. We just helped a small black business in South Africa roll out the largest rollout of Microsoft licenses in the country. They roll out 25,000 licenses. And so what I'm going to do with Microsoft, I'm going to get you to 100 licenses and 100 training programs. Then the next question was around qualifying criteria. What approval rates do we get for our qualifying applications? We get tons of applications. So the applications I think that qualify, that actually go through and get approved, around about 80%. The reason why it's 80 and not 100 for qualifying is because the guys don't have, they can't meet some of the other requirements in terms of maybe their suppliers can't deliver in time, the contract gets cancelled for whatever reason, they're unable to get certain documentation to us. So if the guys meet our actual criteria, I think we got about an 80% approval rate. And then the guys asking about, are we just marketing speak? So I'm telling you something now, and then you see the flashy branding, and we can help everyone, and then you come apply, and then what we say isn't what you experience. So we're a disruptive fund, and the reason I started this was I got quite irritated about watching, and I've been in the finance sector for many years, about what the marketing side says and what the business actually does. Yes, we'll help you, come to us, we are people too, and we'll build your business, and it doesn't happen. So there's three things that I can tell you that if you meet those criteria, we can fund you. One, if you're dealing with a reputable company, a large corporate, government entity, and the like, that's the one check. The other check is the underlying service or goods that you're going to deliver. Can you prove to us that you can deliver? And with our support, can we actually make sure, even if you can't, with our support, can we help you make sure that we can execute on that order? Because remember, you can't execute on it, we're not going to get paid either, right? So, and then thirdly, do you have a decent enough profit in your transaction that will allow us to weather a storm? So, for example, if it takes 30 days, or you're going to get paid in 90 days or 100 days or whatever it is, at least it covers both you and us. If you got those three things, you'll see in our application process, and you can go right on your phones right now and apply. We just want to see three things, those three things up front. Within 24 hours, if we can't do a deal, we have a stated mandate in our business. In 24 hours, we'll tell you. If we can't do it, we'll tell you in 24 hours. But sometimes a quick no is also a good answer. Right? And then if we can do the deal in 48 hours, we think we can do the deal in 48 hours, you'll get a term sheet. So you'll know exactly what it's going to cost you, what our assumptions are, and what documentation you need. Only at that stage, I don't need to see your ID document, or I don't need to see your bank statements to tell you whether I'm happy to fund the underlying transaction. Only after that, once you're happy with the actual costing and so forth, then once you sign up for that, and it's still costing nothing, you can go right to the end and walk away from a transaction. At that stage, so it's very transparent. And I implore all of you, go to our website and try it. Right? And then if you have an issue and you think that we just like a normal bank and we just we say one thing and we don't deliver, then I take that personally. So please come chat to me and send me a message. Right? And then, so the last one was, do we provide a letter of intent to finance? So in the same way as you apply, we do supply letters of intent to finance. So we'll still apply as normal. We'll make sure that it meets our criteria, and then we send you a letter of financial support, which you can attach to your tender documents or your RFPs to show that we'll actually fund it. Thank you.
A big round of applause for